welcome to Chicago Spotlight on Recovery. I'm Barb Tony with Recovery Education for Family, and I want to say a special hello to all our Recovery Education family members that are watching. Before we get started with this special show this evening, I want to give you the housekeeping. So let's put the screen up, and you can call us while we're on air at 312-738-1060. Again, that's 312-738-1060. So call us and be a part of our special show. So tonight I have a very special guest, Jam Alker. Good evening, Jam. Welcome.
Thank you.
So nice to have you here.
Thank you very much.
So would you like to tell us your story?
Sure, I could give a brief summary. My name is Jam Alker. I'm a person who is in long-term recovery. I've been a musician for my entire life, and in my 20s, I was out making records and playing music and doing some touring and things like that, and pretty full of myself, I might say, and did a lot of experimentation with a lot of things, including drugs and alcohol. And towards the end of my 20s, that spiraled out of control, particularly once I was introduced to heroin. And once I was introduced to heroin, I fell into a deep, dark hole of addiction that lasted for over a decade. I finally surrendered almost 3 years ago. As a matter of fact, this Saturday will be my 3-year anniversary in recovery. And went to treatment. And when I went to treatment, I decided that I was not going to use anymore, but what that meant is that I was going to have to start to figure out a way to process all the difficult thoughts, feelings, and emotions that I had numbed myself to for over a decade. And one of the ways that I was able to do that was through music. I brought my guitar with me when I went to treatment, and since those feelings were going to come up and I had to figure out a way to process them, I was able to use songwriting as a way to really heal and process in a very therapeutic and healing manner a lot of the difficult thoughts, feelings, and emotions that were starting to finally come up. And since then, I've been able to use music as an amazing form of therapy for myself, as well as use it as a way to reach out and connect with others who are struggling with addiction.
Well, I want to say a special thank you for sure for you coming in to celebrate your anniversary with us this evening.
Thank you very much.
And also because, as you know, there's a really big opiate crisis going on in Illinois,
Yes.
Illinois and other states. Excuse me. Your story brings a lot of hope for people that are right now wondering if they can ever get out of that. I understand that you have a special way of giving back to the community as well. Would you like to share that a little bit?
I would love to. So, as I said, music has been such an amazing way for me to be able to express myself in recovery. And there's an amazing organization here in Chicago, the Recovery House, which is a house that offers support to people who struggle with addiction and alcoholism, providing a safe place for many different forms of healing. And it's a place that I got involved with immediately when I got out of treatment. And honestly, it's a place that helped save my life. And so I've always wanted to give back to them in any way that I can. And because of the gifts that have been bestowed upon me with my ability to be able to create music and perform, I've done a few benefits. And I did a benefit last year, benefit concert for Recovery House, and we're doing another one on my 3-year anniversary next Saturday. We're going to do another benefit concert where the proceeds will go to the Recovery House here in Chicago.
So that's great. And I just want to let you out there in TV land, all you family members and people watching, I'm going to put some information on the screen where you can link with us and get some information about that benefit upcoming. So here you go. Take note, everybody. Well, where's the deal? Okay. Well, you can call 708-536-8775. And we will have the link to Jam's benefit information, or you can go to refnews4u.info, and we will put that information up tonight. Okay. There you go, everybody.
There's the info.
Yeah, there you go. So great. Thanks so much for the help from the booth. We want to say hello to Sterling and Carolyn in the booth tonight. They're helping us out tremendously. So, Jim,
Yes.
would you like to give us a little taste of what you're going to be offering?
Oh, does that mean you'd like me to play a song?
Yes, we would love to.
Really?
Yeah, we would love to hear
I
it.
had no idea. Well, sure. I just happen to have my guitar right here.
Well, excellent. And I'm going to just scoot over just a little bit so the guitar can
Great.
have enough room to give us the song.
Excellent. So I'm going to play a song that I'll be playing at the benefit this Saturday. This is a song called Crows, which is a song that I wrote very early in my recovery. Has to do with the denial that many of us live in when we're in our active addictions and searching the outside world for an answer that can only be found within. In front of a church on a concrete step, a low-paid man raised his head. He sat down to find his strength. Can't quite figure where it went. When you start to circle, follow the crows. Give a scent to the dogs and watch where they go. You can drain every drop of the lake, turn every stone, but you don't get the truth if you don't want to know. In the front of a church on a concrete step, a low-paid man cradles his head. He sat down to catch his breath. Can't quite figure where it went. When we start to circle, follow the crows. Give a scent to the dogs and watch where they go. Drain every drop of the lake, turn every stone, but you don't get the truth if you don't want to know. Are we living or just killing time? No need to avert your eyes when you're blind. Congregation wept, staying their Sunday best. Broken man caved on front steps, so they took the back door when they left. In front of a church on a concrete step, a low-paid man tried to clear his head, sat down to review how his life was spent. Can't quite figure where it went. When you start to circle, follow the crows. Give a scent to the dogs and watch where they go. Drain every drop of the lake, turn every stone, but you don't get the truth if you don't want to know. Say, are we living or just killing time? No need to avert your eyes when you're blind.
Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Oh, thank you.
I really appreciate you sharing your gift with the people watching tonight. As you know, what we do with Recovery Education for Families, Jan, is that we work with families and help them see the hope
Yes.
that recovery is possible for their loved one and for
Absolutely.
themselves.
Yes.
How important was it as you started your recovery journey to have your family or your recovery family involved?
I think it's incredibly important. You know, I've heard addiction referred to as isolation and recovery referred to as connection and community. And we learn early in recovery that we can't do this alone. So we need people that we can count on, people we can go to, people we can bounce ideas off of, people who we can speak with when we're going through those tough times. We need people to look up to. We need people to inspire us who have what we want moving forward. And so that has been instrumental to my recovery, be it my recovery family and also my actual family of origin. And I am one of the lucky folks who has a family who has been, for the most part, incredibly understanding and supportive, and have understood that addiction is a disease, and when we're in our addiction, we make bad decisions, but that doesn't make us bad people.
Right. So
They
true.
have understood that addiction is not about a moral failing.
Right.
It is not about a lack of willpower. I was very fortunate that my family was willing to do the work to understand that addiction is a disease and support me as a result of that.
What were some of the steps that your family took to help get into the recovery process alongside of you?
So there's been some Al-Anon, which I think is incredibly important for the family if they're willing to do some of the work themselves, because there is it's referred to as a family disease in a lot of
certainly
ways.
is, yes.
There's a lot of enabling that takes place.
Right.
There's a lot of codependency, and that was certainly the case in my family dynamic. A lot of unspoken underlying issues where, if you don't call me out on this, I won't call you out on that.
There you go.
And very unhealthy behaviors by everyone in the family. And so I think that for real healing to take place in the family, it has to be something that's understood that everybody has a part in it. Now, certainly the addict or the alcoholic is at the center of that and has the amends to make and has the most work to do, but it can be so much more beneficial to the person in recovery as well as the family as a whole for their healing, the more that they get involved in the process.
Definitely. I just want to break in here and remind people out in the audience watching, if you have any questions. Oh, we have a caller. Hello, caller.
Hello, caller.
Hi
Caller,
there.
are you there?
Hi, I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Hi, caller.
Hello, thank you. I just have a question for the guest. Based on your experience, what's the best way, if I have a family or friend that I think might be suffering from addiction, what's the best thing that I can do to get them help? Or is there anything that I can say that'll make them change their mind or kind of point them in that direction toward recovery?
This is a tough one because if there's anything that I'm sure of, it's that the person who's in their active addiction has to be ready. If they're not ready, if they're not interested in seeking help, then us trying to do the work for them is never going to be a fruitful process. We can hope to plant seeds. We can hope to provide them with support without enabling. But it's very, very complex. If it's a person who is aware that they have a problem and is interested in getting help, there are so many different resources available, and Barb here would be a great person to turn to be able to get you in touch with all of the resources, whether it be detox, whether it be treatment, whether it be all the different types of fellowships and meetings that are available. But if the person who's in their active addiction is not ready, it is very difficult to try to force them. I wasn't ready until I was ready. No one could have told me to do it. I was not willing to do it until I was 100% ready. So in some cases, unfortunately, that means tough love, where you have to sometimes keep the person lovingly at arm's length until they've experienced enough consequences, enough pain that they are ready. Once they are ready, the resources are there. But until then, it's important to know that you can't do it for them. And it's also very important to know as a family member that it is not your fault.
We have another caller, Jan. Caller?
Hi, caller.
Hello?
Hi,
caller.
how are you? Yeah, I just got one a little late. Listen, first off, great guitar playing. Thanks for having him on the show. This is fantastic. One thing I've always wondered is how important. I know music is important to just about everything. It seems like music was very important to your recovery. Can you talk a little bit about how that impacted what you were doing, how you were going through that?
So I do a music group where I help other people who are early in recovery to try to figure out different ways to express themselves. As I said in my introduction, that when we're in our active addiction, we are numbing ourselves, and the numbing is not just physically, but it's also very much the emotional pain. And so when we get into recovery, we start to have to process thoughts, feelings, and emotions that we've suppressed or numbed ourselves to for the entirety of our addiction. And so there are many different forms of therapy that are important. Talk therapy is important. Meetings. There are so many different tools in recovery.
Another caller.
Yeah.
We have another caller. Thank you for calling in and your wonderful question. Hello, caller.
Yes, so I have a question concerning enabling, because I don't think a lot of families understand what that is, and how it actually can, just make the process of recovery a little more difficult. So if you can talk about what your family, because you mentioned that your family had some enablers, what was that like, and how did that, maybe delay the process of recovery?
Sure. So for me, it was believing lies that I was telling because it was easier and less painful to believe my lies rather than confront me on them. That was the biggest form of enabling on my part, but there are several forms of, continuing to lend money to someone you love when they tell you that it's for things that you clearly know that it's not for. It's to feed an addiction, or it can be, continuing to provide housing. It can be all sorts of forms of co-signing behavior that we do because we love these people. These are our family and our friends, and we love them and we want to help them. But when we are providing them with ways in which they can continue in their active addiction, that is enabling, and that is not helping the family member, and it's certainly not helping the addict in the long run. It's easier oftentimes, but it's not what is more helpful. And I think that is, what enabling behavior is.
One of the things, I'll just add to that,
Yes.
Jamie, build on that, Jamie. One of the things that we teach our family members in our program is that enabling can be enabling recovery. And we teach them how to reverse those enabling the disease behaviors into enabling recovery by setting healthy boundaries and learning how to keep them. One of the ways that many family members struggle to keep a boundary or stop enabling is in the way they communicate. So we actually teach them a script so that they can stay on point and keep that point with the loved one so that they can kind of motivate and guide them into treatment. So enabling is a lot of things, as you were saying. It could be something very internal, very external, very mild, and very serious. But one thing about Recovery Education for Family programming is we help the family. Even before that person is ready to go into treatment, we support and educate the family in how to develop techniques and tools for self-care, obviously, while they're going through it, but also how to motivate a loved one into treatment. So, thanks for them thoughts on enabling. That was
Sure.
very good.
My pleasure.
So let me just ask, when did you everybody that I talk to has kind of a pinnacle moment where they realize this is it, I have to make change in my life. Do you recall a particular moment, or was it a series of moments for you?
The bottom, what many refer to as the bottom. Yes, I am very clear on what my bottom is, and what my bottom was. And that was the birth of my daughter. My daughter was born, and I was sure that that was the last line in the sand that I would draw. Definitely, once I had a child, I would be able to stop using. My daughter was born. I stayed home for 2 weeks to stay in that bubble with her, and be a part of that process. And then I had to go back to work the third week, and I lasted 4 days back out in the real world before that stress and that emotional pain took me over to the point where I couldn't do it anymore, and ended up using again after 4 days. And that was my bottom. Once I realized that having my daughter was not enough, I knew that there was no way that I was going to be able to do it on my own. I had no more excuses that I could make, and that was when I knew that I needed to get help, and that was when I finally surrendered and started the process towards going to treatment.
Well, I'm so glad that you made that choice and that you joined us today on this special anniversary of your recovery.
Thank you.
I see we're getting the clock winding down, so I would just want to do a little housekeeping. Again, you can reach you can reach us and receive information for. I'm struggling with these buttons. For these. Okay, 2 minutes. There you go. Thank you, Booth. Thank you. Okay. So make sure you reach out to 708-536-8775 to get the information for Jim and his activities this weekend, or refnewsforyou.info, and we'll have it up in a matter of an hour or so. Thank you. And you want to have some last words before you leave, Jim? Other than thank you so much from me and the group.
My pleasure. I'm grateful and blessed for the opportunity to be here. Again, please do either call the number or check the website for information on this important benefit concert that is happening this Saturday, October 14th here in Chicago. It will be at the Latvian Center. It will be a sober event for the Recovery House. And yeah, you can check the website, and thank you very much for having me.
Well, we're so thrilled you were here. And I just want to draw everybody's eyes to the saying behind me, don't just hope to cope. You can reach out to the Ref Resource Helpline if you need any resources for treatment or support. And you can check out our activities that we offer weekly as well. It was so nice to be here. We look forward to coming back next Thursday at 5 p.m. Each week we'll get more professionalized and more polished, and we just love being here. Thank you all. Jam's gonna give us a few notes as we leave.
Sisters, call you my kin. Sang with the band as we shipped out to sea. Toasted the captain while sung to our knees. Leaded to shore by the skins of our necks. Now we share the scars we received from soldiers and fight to the death. I'll fight this proud fight